Hi, Gerhard Bloom, once again looking at the tyranny and the delusions of the social justice movement. So, on the delusion front, it looks like Boston University is finally getting wise to that race grifter and hustler, Ibram X. Kendi. Ibram X. Kendi, I don't know if you recall, I recommended you going out and buying his book, How to Be an Anti-Racist, along with Robin DiAngelo's White Fragility, just to show you how stupid and vacuous these people are. Ibram X. Kendi, yeah, How to Be an Anti-Racist, basically every disparity that you can imagine, wealth, health outcomes, success, incarceration, it's all racist. You see a disparity, it's de facto and de jure evidence for him that there is racism involved. How does this pointy-headed theorist, who was awarded the Genius Grant, MacArthur Fellowship, genius, here's this genius explaining what racism is, right? Racism is a marriage of racist policies and racist ideas that produces and normalizes racial inequalities. So racism is when you do racism. How about racism is when you judge people on the basis of their race. You praise them or condemn them simply by virtue of their race. Racists, that's what they do. They judge people on the basis of race. I've said this before. If race matters to you, you're a racist. Stop it. Judge people on the basis of who they are and what they contribute. So at any rate, this race-based hustler had been appointed to Boston University's, as they stood up, an anti-racist research center. Yes, tens of millions of dollars were funneled into this by, white guilt philanthropists and corporations, of course, to want to convince the world that they're virtuous warriors fighting this imaginary racism. And it is imaginary, absolute nonsense. And I don't deny that there are white racists out there. There are certainly a lot of black racists out there. In fact, there are more black racists than white racists. Check out my book for the evidence, right? Significantly more blacks care about being black than whites care about being black. Once again, care about race makes you a racist. So this guy, he was supposed to conduct, this is, quote, to solve the intractable problems of our times using exhaustive racial research, race-based policy initiatives, data-driven education, and advocacy campaigns. Well, since 2020, no original research, no meaningful scholarship. It's done absolutely nothing. What can he do? This whole narrative is a lie. I've told you there are serious pathologies in the inner city black community. Race has nothing to do with it. Serious cultural pathologies. Here's meaningful statistics. A statistic, blacks between the ages of 14 and 17, that's right, teenagers. They have gun homicide rates at 10 times the rate of whites and Hispanics combined. This means that, proportionally, black teenagers are a very dangerous group, and that doesn't mean all black teenagers. That would be racist. But disproportionately, terrible problem. Number one cause of death to a young black man is death by young black man. Police don't even rate, not everywhere close to the numbers of homicides by black men on black men. And yes, killing a lot of innocent black kids as well. Explain racism to me. That is racist. Single parenthood. 1960, before the Lyndon Johnson's Great Society program fully kicked off and got entrenched, about 22% of black kids were raised in single parent homes. So, families, blacks, they didn't have a tradition of marriage because of slavery. And there were more intact black families under slavery than after slavery. Certainly more than now. In the 1960s, blacks still had a relatively stable family, the nuclear family, because times were tough, they needed to stick together. 1960, about 22% of black children were raised in a single-parent family. By 1985, that had jumped to 67%. 67% no meaningful father figure in their life. And now that rate is 72%, more than 72%, and that's nationwide in the United States. So that's counting, all the middle-class black families. In the inner city, almost no child is being raised in a two-parent home with a mom and a biological dad to look after them. So you have a litany of cascading problems: teenage pregnancy, juvenile crime, school misbehavior, and by misbehavior, beating school teachers mercilessly, attacking other students mercilessly, knife attacks, school misbehavior, and academic failure. The levels of innumeracy and illiteracy in the black community are shocking, absolutely appalling. And adult criminal lifestyle, absolutely nothing to do with systemic racism. And for you people who are having, leftists out there trolling me, puzzle me this, number of police shootings. Yes, blacks are disproportionately involved in police shootings. Must be racist. No, they're involved in much more serious violent crimes. How come the same logic, how come Ibram X. Kendi doesn't look at the NFL and say, Chinese kids and Jewish kids must be discriminated against, right? Because they're underrepresented. This is the logic of this nonsense. Maybe, little Jewish kids and Chinese kids are devoting their time and attentions and talents to other endeavors, which they are. So, no. Group disparities does not mean group discrimination. It doesn't. There are a number of important social variables we need to track here. And I mentioned this before, right? There's tribalizing people, there's blaming society for your individual failures and your cultural failures. If I was brought up in the inner city, a black kid, no father, and, I could run with the boys, get a gun, have some sex, make some money, this would be a pretty exciting draw to a young teenage me. Yes, I don't doubt it for a minute. My life would have ended up dead or in jail. But I had a father who, no way. At any rate, this charlatan is being called out. They'll be true believers. Marching the flag of Ibram X. Kendi and Robin DiAngelo just to show you how virtuous they are. It shows me that they are stupid. But fortunately, people are wise to BLM. Their contributions at this fraudulent Marxist group plummeted by nearly 90% over the last year, right? Because they were out buying themselves party homes, grossly mismanaging millions of dollars, funneling off to family members in invented billable hours, right? Absolutely awful. And if you are a white person giving to this nonsense, give your fucking head a shake. Get your head out of your ass. It is a grift. If you're not a racist and you're not racially oppressing anybody, you got nothing to feel guilty for. I never owned a slave. I'm not a racist. So I don't feel the least bit guilty, and I'm not doing any work. If you're not a racist, you never owned a slave, stop pretending to be guilty. I've seen videos on X, right? White people lined up to kiss the feet of black people. What the hell is that about? This self-abasing, groveling. Get a life. Anyways, Ibram X. Kendi. I would not be surprised if this investigation by Boston University ends in a criminal investigation, although, mismanaging money and can be very difficult to prove, but it's a move in the right direction. Thank you so much for your time and attention. And as you're picking up Ibram X. Kendi's How to Be an Anti-Racist and Robin DiAngelo's White Fragility, pick up my book, Deconstructing Social Justice. It's available on Amazon. Not important because I wrote it. I wrote it because the issues could not be more important. And you can see in real time as I deconstruct this socialist nonsense, and I go in particular depth on the disparities between the black and white communities and show you exactly how this narrative is deeply flawed. Thank you so much for your time and attention. Please do drop a thumbs up. Bye-bye.